Good morning and welcome back, Trinidad and Tobago. It's the second installment of our four-part series looking at the licensing of and operations at Children's Home in Trinidad and Tobago. Now, today we look at staffing of children's homes. We continue the discussion with the manager of St. Dominic's Children's Home, Sister Arlene Greenridge. Good morning.
Good morning.
So tell us, how are the children admitted to St. Dominic's Children's Home, and also what are the circumstances under which they are admitted?
Okay. Children are received into care through two streams, really, at the moment. One stream is through the court, right? In various jurisdictions. Largely the family court because of our location. We are in our main campus is in Belmont. So most of our children who come through the court come through the family court, but they also come from other further jurisdictions. So that's one stream. And then other children come through the Children's Authority. Remember last week, on last occasion rather, we spoke about the Children's Authority being the monitoring and licensing body. So they really are the people who are watching out for children. So some of our children also come through the Children's Authority.
All right.
The circumstances, I maintain and to guard against stigma that the children who come to St. Dominic's Children's Home aren't children who are any different to the other children of our nation, all right? Many families within our nation are faced with difficulties, parents who are not coping, parents who have difficulty parenting, parents who are maybe on drugs or struggling with some other kind of addiction, parents and families that are broken and where there's disruption, sometimes families that are dysfunctional, where there's abuse. And so the children who come to St. Dominic's Children's Home will be children in our nation who have those kinds of experiences. So basically those are the issues that our children present with. They present with issues of trauma and loss. They've experienced abuse, they've experienced neglect, they're presenting with behavioral difficulties that make it hard for a parent without skills and knowledge to manage, to care for them, to protect them. They're making bad decisions that place them at risk. And so they need to be taken to a place where their movement can be better supervised and less and more restricted. So those are the kinds of scenarios.
Okay, tell us about the steppers model.
Okay, so in 2008, our Board of Management recognized, based on feedback, that the organization had reached a critical point. It wasn't coping as it needed to with the presenting situations and the needs of children coming into our care. And so we embarked upon a transformation process. It started with a lot of self-reflection, consultation, meeting with staff, a study. I'm a Dominican sister, and for Dominican sisters, study is a big thing. Study informs, the decisions we make, as it should for everyone, really. And so coming out of that process, a number of gaps light was thrown a number of gaps. We recognized a lot of shifts had taken place in our environment, and those shifts were impacting upon our ability or inability to meet our children's needs. We recognized now through training at that point that good practice really demanded that we shifted as caregivers, as parents, as caregivers, from a position of power and control. I say you do. Who's the adult here, right? That we shift from that posture to one of relationship-based interaction, and so we saw it as being a shift. We spoke about it in terms of being a shift from power and control to relationship-based. And relationships founded in an understanding of the impact of trauma and loss, how trauma impacts upon people's behavior, and relating to the children and to each other, because we adults as well have experienced trauma and loss, but out of that understanding. So we needed to move from that I say and you do to understanding our behavior and our relationships being driven by that. We recognize the need to emphasize reintegration, because we realize that as wonderful as we could do, as wonderful as work might be, we could be waxing in terms of the quality of care you provide. Children need family, because at the end of the day, they age out of care, right? We were recognizing as well and understanding a lot of the resentment and anger adolescents were presenting with within that concept of children, young people really want families. So when they reach adolescence and they can ask themselves certain questions, why are I here? How come I hear my brother or sister in the family? Or how come other people have, and they start to rebel. And so we started talking about permanency and the earliest possible reintegration. So it was those shifts that led to the development of the Steppers model, which is really nothing new under the sun, but 7 principles that come out of best practice.
Now, what is the intention for the children in terms of post-care?
So, as I said, one of the principles of the Steppers model, that the first one of the P's treats with permanency, okay? And again, the underlying principle there is that children need family, all right? So in pre-Steppers model, children received into care and they stayed into care until they aged out, generally. But now that we seek to fully implement the Steppers model, we are talking about the earliest possible reintegration. So aftercare is now not necessarily about children aging out of care, but caring for children throughout their residential care and ensuring that their reintegration into family is as successful as we can enable it to be.
Okay.
So aftercare really is providing a range of wraparound services, as we call them, that help us to ensure that reintegration is successful.
All right, so my final question to you is, what is the plan to actually have it ruled out?
Okay, so right now, and that's why I'm here, we're trying to help our public, our supporters, are the corporate, private citizens whose support we rely on so heavily to understand what is happening. Because it is a pretty big leap. We are now moving into a new model of care. Part of that model of care is a more community-based approach, interfacing into aging family. And so we need families as well to understand their role. Okay. And so that really is where we are in the process.
Thank you so much, Sister Greenridge, and we look forward to chatting with you in the future.
Okay.